Okay, welcome everybody out to our training on Goals Made Simple, your guide to success. And goals, it's kind of a catchy title because goals are anything but simple. But setting them is not as hard as we think, but you have to have the ability to be motivated to keep them. And that's what we're going to spend most of our time on today. And I know in my life, for 50 years of my life, I really didn't set goals. Or if I did, I didn't keep them very long. And so the last 9 years, I have kept goals religiously once I learned and got rid of my mental illness and got some clarity in my life. And through setting those goals and using the things I'm going to talk about today, I have accomplished more in the last 9 years than I did in the first 50. I've probably accomplished 20 years worth of stuff in the last 9 years. Not everything worked, but I have accomplished a lot because of what I'm going to talk about today. So I always try to talk about things that I have done personally because it makes a little more sense. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay. So everybody here pretty much knows who I am. I'm Greg Threadgold. I'm a speaker, a #1 best-selling author, and most important, a stress eliminating certified coach. I help people with stress and a lot of things that are associated with stress. If you ever need to reach out to me, you can find me at greg@gregthreadgold.com. My website's gregthreadgold.com. So Harvard Business School did a study on goals. And Harvard does some pretty good stuff. And what they came up with when the people they talked to and what they learned about goals is that 83% of people that they surveyed don't set goals at all. It's not part of their life. 83%. They found that 14% had goals in their head, but didn't really have a plan of how to accomplish those goals. And 3%, they found 3% of people had written goals, they'd written them down, and they had a plan how to execute those goals. So only 3%. But here's the amazing thing of why you need to set goals. They found that people who have written goals, and that's one of the important things is to write them down, but people who have written goals and an action plan to achieve those goals are 30 times more successful. "30 times more successful." So just by setting goals, your chances go up by 30 times to be more successful than people that don't set goals. It's an amazing fact that goals are so important. And this is what they found, and this is what other studies have found is, and I read a lot of books, and I read a lot of biographies of people, and I listen to a lot of people, successful people in all walks of life, and I have found that probably every single one of them talks about writing goals and setting goals. And this is a goal I achieved. And it can change a life. It changed a lot of lives. There's a story of Jim Carrey back when I think I saw this on Oprah. He was living out of his car in Hollywood, couldn't find a job as an actor, didn't have any money. But one day he wanted to set a goal to be successful. And he wrote a check out to cash for $10 million. And he put a date on there several years in the future. And he kept it in his wallet. He had the check there to show Oprah. And he looked at it quite a bit. And someday I will be able to cash a $10 million check. And he went to work and kept looking at that check, kept thinking of that goal, not knowing when he wrote that goal and wrote that check that there would come a movie called Dumb and Dumber, which he was paid $10 million to do that movie. And he was able to cash the check they gave him for $10 million. And it totally changed his life. Just by setting one goal, writing it down, which he did on the check, and looking at it and studying it. That made him more successful probably than all the other broke comedians and actors, is he set the goal, and it made the difference. So let's jump into this and let's talk about, first off, what qualifies as a goal? Okay, what qualifies as a goal? Somebody came up years ago with what's called SMART goals, and you can look all over the internet, and there are a lot of information about SMART goals. I've used the system, I've used different systems. They're all kind of little pieces of each other. So in SMART goals, the goals that you write down have to be specific. They have to be specific goals. They can't be broad, they can't be not generalized, they have to be specific. And an example of that is, well, I want to lose weight. Okay, that's not a specific goal. A specific goal is, I want to lose 25 pounds by December 31st, 2020 at noon. That's a specific goal. And it needs to be specific. And we can't just say, I want to do this, and not be specific. The second thing to measure a goal, it has to be measurable. Again, does it have a date? Does it have, I want to lose 25 pounds by this date? Is it measurable? Is there some way for you to measure, am I hitting my goal? Am I getting closer to my goal or farther away from my goal? Again, if it's a general goal, then you really can't measure that. So unmeasurable goals, I want to be happier. How can you measure that? Okay. A measurable goal is I want to make 2 new friends a month that will make me happier in my life. Okay, that's measurable. The third one is it achievable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Again, I'm a big guy, so I have to walk up a little hill to get to our car. I'm tired when I get to the car, okay? So if I set a goal that 8 months from now, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. Okay, is that an achievable goal? No, it's not. Okay, I'd pass out just putting on the equipment. Okay, it's not an achievable goal. So there's no way I can reach it. So why even try? The next thing, is it relevant? And what it means by relevant, is it relative to my life? Okay. If I set a goal that I want to learn to speak Portuguese, That's a good goal. But am I in a place where there's people that speak Portuguese? Do I live somewhere where there's nobody that speaks Portuguese? Am I ever going to travel anywhere where they speak Portuguese? So it's really not relevant to making me a better person. It's not relevant to where I want to be in my life. And the last thing that you need to measure when you're doing these goals, is it timely? Does it fit into my life right now? Am I setting it at the right time where I can accomplish it? Just a weird example would be, I want to get married and have 10 kids. Okay, that's a great goal to set, but not if you're 9 years old. And I want to do it, quickly. Okay, it's not a good goal to set when you're 9. It's not timely for where you're at in your life right now. Or if you're 95 years old, I want to get married and have 10 kids. It doesn't fit into where you're at in your life right now. So again, the number one thing with goals, you need to write them down. They need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be achievable. They need to be relevant. And they need to be timely. So that's the SMART goal system. Does that make sense? Okay. You just write a goal. Yeah, and we don't have a lot of people here, so let me unmute you guys. Should let you unmute yourself now. And shame on everybody else that set a goal to be here and didn't do it. See, you're the 3% that showed up.
Right.
It's amazing. I went to right before COVID hit. The weekend before COVID hit, I was at a coaches get together training in Los Angeles and Pasadena, and he talked about 1% of the people show up. He said, he was talking about goals, and of that 3% that had goals, usually 1% achieved their goals. He said, I invited 5,000 people to this event. And he said, there's 52 of you here. That's 1%. You're the 1% that showed up. You guys are the 1% that showed up. And that's just how numbers work. He said, we planned on having no more than 60 people here because it's 1% that show up out of 5,000. And it's the same thing. Somebody put I put important stuff on my group and things that can really help people. And there's no comments. Nobody sees it. But I saw somebody on Facebook put some stupid thing up about something about farting, passing gas. And there was like 198 comments. And I'm like, okay, that's just what we choose to focus our lives on. So if we have this as the foundation, the SMART is the foundation, okay? Mike, you had a comment or question?
Yeah, you talked about the little girl that dreamed of having 10 kids.
Yeah.
Well, that's she couldn't say I'm going to have them now, but she could say when I'm married I could have 10 kids.
She could, but again, it has to be measurable. So it's kind of hard to say. So she's setting a goal 30 years in the future, or 25 years in the future, which is okay. But if we're working on short-term goals that we want now, yeah, that would be a great long-term goal. But short-term goals, she's 9 years old. She should be. Is it relevant?
Yeah, she wouldn't be thinking short. I mean,
is it relevant to a 9-year-old? No, I want to get married and have a family. That's a great goal. That's a great goal. But is it relevant to a 9-year-old?
Right.
For a long-term goal, yeah, I agree with you on that. But if that's all she's setting as goals that are 25, 30 years away, it's not relevant to right now. Does that make sense? So a long-term goal, yeah, it would fit for a long-term goal.
Okay.
Yeah. No, great question. Great question. So let me switch back here. Okay, so let's move on and do what I call the important stuff. I call this the important stuff. So again, setting goals is great, and that's the way to do it, but there's a lot more to setting the goals. Anybody can write down something, but I want to go over some things that actually are going to help. This is the important stuff that I've found in doing research. I read a lot to find the current stuff on this, and it's what I did to accomplish my goals. So again, I'm going to drill this into you, write it down, okay? Also, you want to be really specific, but you want to write goals in a positive language. You want to be positive when you write them. What that means is, instead of writing, I don't want to be fat anymore, again, I want to lose 20 pounds by December 31st at noon. I don't want to be grumpy anymore. Okay, that's negative talk. Okay, again, I want to meet and make 2 new friends a month that are I can help feel better, and they're going to help me feel better. Again, just writing it in a positive way. Don't focus on what you don't want to do anymore. Focus on what you do want to do. The next one, which if I was to go back and look before I learned about goals, I would have got an F in celebrating. You need to celebrate along the way. Little steps. Again, you're going to use weight loss as our thing. Don't wait till you lose 20 pounds to celebrate. You lose 2 pounds, celebrate. You lose 5 pounds, celebrate. 10 pounds, 12 pounds. Whatever weight you lose, celebrate in little ways. Whatever that is. Some special thing to eat. You lose 15 pounds, buy yourself a nice shirt. Something. Celebrate along the way. And then when you reach the goal, you celebrate big. Not just for yourself, but when your subconscious mind sees you celebrating, it's going to know how important it is for you to reach all your other goals. So you got to celebrate. That's your motivation to keep going. And you need to visualize. What is this goal going to look like when it happens? What does it feel like? What does it feel like to lose 20 pounds? What does it feel like to lose 100 pounds? What does it smell like? And people go, smell like? Okay, I would love to go to Italy for the food. Okay, I'm sure it smells amazing. So if I'm in an Italian restaurant in Utah, I'm going to smell what it smells like, and it probably smells a lot better in Italy, the food. I'm going to smell, if I'm going to the beach in some tropical island, I'm going to smell what it smells like to be on the beach. It's going to become part of me. And you do this often, and you let it become a part of you. And you close your eyes, and you visualize being there. The next one is accountability. And this one is huge. Now, you can have what's called an accountability partner. There's actual coaches out there that you can hire as an accountability partner, and they will keep you on track to reach your goals. They're going to call you, email you, send stuff to you, text you, meet with you, keep you on goal, and that's a good way to do it. But not everybody does that, so you need to hold yourself accountable for achieving your goals. It will keep you focused and motivated. You need to be accountable. You need to look at your goals often. You need to celebrate. You need to do whatever. If trying to reach a goal is hard, you don't change the goal. You just change the way you're going about it. The next one is important. You need to balance your goals. You need to set goals in all areas of your life. financial, spiritual, career, family, health, appearance, relationship, marriage, personal growth, whatever of those, you need to have balance in all areas of your life. If you focus your whole life on just one goal in one part of your life, you're going to get out of balance. And that's going to become so important, all the other areas of your life suffer. So here's an example. And I do have this client's permission to talk about him. I had a client who I coached last year who the first time we met, he was a referral. I'd never met him. He was a referral from another client. And we talked the first time, and he spent the first 20 minutes telling me how much money he was worth, how many cars he had, how many houses he had, that he had not one yacht, he had 2 yachts. He owned 25 different companies. The companies, and told me every one of the companies and how much they grossed and how much profit they made. And I couldn't get a word in edgeways. And when he finally, the great thing about human beings is they have to take a breath. So when he took a breath, I jumped in and interrupted. Okay. It's a great skill if you're ever teaching somebody. They have to take a breath eventually. So I asked him, I said, tell me about your wife. He said, which one? I have 4 ex-wives. They all hate me. I said, tell me about your kids. I have 6 kids with the 4 wives. They all hate my guts, haven't talked to me in years. I said, it's good you still got your employees that love you and appreciate working for you. I don't think I have an employee that likes me, although they hate me because I push them way too hard. I pay them a salary and I expect them to work 60 to 70 hours a week. And he'd spent his whole life thinking that all these things he bought were going to make him happy. That getting his name on a college building or part of a wing of a hospital was going to make him happy. And he never set any goals for his family and his kids. And he didn't have any goals with them, and he had no relationship with them. So we had to work through that. And I had to tell him, so you spent your whole career just going after goals for work, and you've climbed this ladder of success, and now you find out that it's up against the wrong wall. He had a lot of money. When I met him, he told me I am worth $941 million. And he told me what day he would be a billionaire. And it was within a year. So he had the money. He had the stuff. He made more in a week than I make in a year. Probably has more in a week than I make in 10 years. But he was miserable. And so we had to change and tell him the stuff is not what life is all about. So he's made these changes. He learned to set different goals. He learned to get rid of the fears in his life. And now he's getting relationships with his kids and with his wives. And now he's giving money away. I've got him to give over $150 million away anonymously. It's not about getting your name on the building. It's not about the validation. It's not about being in the newspaper, being on the news, anonymously. And the last time we coached, he'd given $50 million away anonymously. First, he hated it because he wasn't getting the praise. Now he loves it. Now he loves it. Okay? So again, he's wasted a whole life by not doing his goals where they should be. All right, and the last one is 4 before bedtime. This is one of the greatest things I've learned in goal setting that I can think of. It really is. 4 before bedtime. Start the day, so you can do this the night before, so you have it. Start the day with 4 written items to get done before bed for one of your goals. You're going to have goals in all these different areas. Don't get overwhelmed. If you get overwhelmed, then pick 3 or 4 of them for this year and pick some next year. But one of your goals, or this can be one thing for 4 of your goals, and you don't go to bed until they're done, period. You get all 4 of those things done every day that you set those little things. And these are little things. And you get them done. Now, sometimes I went to bed when I only had 3 done. And sometimes I didn't go to bed till 3 or 4 in the morning until I was getting the last one done. So 4 before bedtime. Okay. It's an amazing thing to scratch off those things. Have your subconscious mind see you really working hard to get to your goals. So one of the things that happens with goals is, okay, what do I have to do to get this done? What do I have to do to get this done? What do I have to do to get this done? And that's important. That's important. What do I have to do? But as the billionaire guy I told you about, and yes, he is a billionaire now. He made sure I knew that by email and text and messenger, everything else. Yes, I'm a billionaire now. What do I have to do? 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 And so by the time he hit the goal, and he was a goal guy, they were just all career oriented, he was still a jerk. He was still just a big jerk, and that's what he called himself. I'm a jerk. And so he was there, he met the goal, but he hadn't changed. He hadn't got any better. Goals are supposed to get us better if we do them in all those different areas. So the question is not only what do I have to do to reach my goal, what kind of person do I have to become to reach that goal so that when I reach it, I'm better for it. You know, he set goals to get another $100 million, but it wasn't any better. It was probably worse because he was worth more money. What kind of person do I have to become? Are my goals helping me become a better person? What kind of person do I have to become to be worthy of that goal? I learned this a few years ago at a training, and we went through, goal setting, and I thought, okay, now you got your goals written down. Now we're going to talk about all the things we got to do to get them done and break it down. And that wasn't it. The person said, what kind of person do you have to become to be worthy of these goals? So that when you get there, you're better in all areas of your life. And it really hit me hard that, okay, what kind of person do I have to be? So let's look at that. Jim Rohn, who's a motivational speaker and great teacher, he said you should set goals big enough that in the process of achieving them, you become someone worth becoming. When you achieve your goals, you become someone worth becoming. You can set goals that are going to make you a worse person. You can be a criminal and set goals. You can run a drug cartel and set goals, but you're going to be a worse person when you do. When you do that. So what you have to do, and the 3 parts of setting goals, if you do just the SMART goal part, and you don't do the 6 things I covered, the important stuff, you're probably not going to reach your goals. if you do the SMART goals and the 6 simple things I asked you to do, you might accomplish some of your goals. But if you really want to accomplish goals and really want to have success in all those areas, you have to have a new mindset. You have to change your mindset. And once you change your mindset, you get new results. You get different results because you have a different mindset. And why I talk about mindset, and with you guys here, we probably touched on this before because we've had conversations before, is when you set your goals, we get all pumped up, and we are pumped up. We set them on Sunday and we are pumped up till about Thursday, and then everything kind of fades by then. And go ask anybody, what was your New Year's resolution? They don't have a clue. I don't know. Well, it lasted a couple of weeks. Or they didn't accomplish it. You have to have a new mindset. Because if you've tried goals in the past and they didn't work, what's your mindset, Lynn, going into setting goals?
To set something that isn't going to be just short term and something that is going to be achievable.
Yeah, and if you've failed at most of the goals in your life, what is your brain going to tell you?
What's the
When you
point?
set more?
What's the point?
What's the point? You've never achieved goals. How are you going to achieve them now? Because again, our subconscious mind that runs 90% of our decisions is going to tell us its job is to keep us safe. So it's going to tell us not to do anything that's hard. Whoa, wait a minute. You're trying to change. No, don't do that. You'll fail. That's hard. No, you can't do that. Every time you try, you fail. It's got every little thing that's ever happened to us in our lives. No, I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to keep you right here. I'm not going to let you achieve your goals. So you got to get the new mindset. Because the first thing that happens when we set these goals and something goes wrong and we didn't hit one of our little mini goals, we're going to quit. Because it's like, this happens every time I set a goal. I just don't reach them. That was me. That was me. Because the road to success, and write this down if you're taking notes, the road to success is always under construction. And where you live, if it's anywhere where I live, it seems like all of northern Utah has been under construction for the 20 years I've lived here. And so there's detours, and there's traffic accidents, and there's backups, and there's road closures, and that's how you get to success. You don't just zoom into your goals. It's always under construction. It's a lot of work. And you got to have a new mindset that, yeah, I can accomplish my goals. Is it going to happen by that exact date and time? I don't know. Is it going to happen the way I want it to happen? Probably not. But it can still, again, change the way you're doing it. Don't change the goal. Let's just do it hard. I'm not going to do it. No, change the way you're doing it. Failure is just, all failure is life giving you feedback. That's it. Okay, this way's not going to work. Okay, let's try a different way. You're going to fail on the way to your goals. You're supposed to. You'll never be successful if you don't fail. And if you're reaching all your goals, if you're reaching every one of your goals and not ever missing a goal, guess what? Your goals are way too easy. They're way too easy. They're not pushing you. You should fail. You should fail. Right? I don't have the quote here, but Michael Jordan talked about his career, and he said, you know, I've made this many shots, but I've missed a lot more than that. He said, like 43 times I've been given the ball with a couple seconds left to make the game-winning shot. Out of those 43, said 27 times I failed. He said, I failed a lot more than I ever was successful. And he's the greatest player in the history of basketball. Okay. He failed. Again, before Michael Jordan had quotes like that, it was Babe Ruth. Hit more home runs than anybody. But he also struck out more than anybody, too. He failed. They say if you can hit bat 10 times in baseball and get a hit 4 times, you'll make over $100 million a year. But you failed 60% of the time. 4 times. 6 times you failed. You'll be the richest player in baseball. Okay. So, new mindset, new results. Okay. Because let me jump back on here. Think about, well, I tried my goal once and it didn't work, so I'm going to stop. What if you would have done that when you learned how to walk? How many times do we fall down when we learn how to walk? 100, 400, 500? What if we would have quit after the first 2 times? We'd be crawling around. What if when we learned how to talk, we would have quit? Because it didn't work the first couple of times. Nobody could understand me. Some people do. They just quit. They just quit. Again, we wouldn't be able to talk and we'd be crawling everywhere. Okay, let's finish up. Because I promised we'd get out of here by 1 o'clock. So, and I think this is kind of stuff that you guys have already done. Lynn, you've taken the assessment, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, we just need to do a follow-up call, right?
Yeah.
Mike and I did a follow-up call, right?
Right.
I do a lot of them. Okay. This is the third part of being successful. You got to get rid of those fears or nothing's going to change. And the last seminar I did, my favorite quote was, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If nothing in your life changes, then nothing's going to change. And, you know, we have these calls, we talk about some things that help. And you guys are both taking the assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get with Lynn and do that. Done a lot of trainings. I have a lot of people doing the assessments. But even it tells you where you're at. I love that assessment. It's scary. Tells you where you're at. And then at that point, when you're done with the assessment, you have a plan of things you can work on. If I remember right, Mike and I talked about some things and had some goals for him to try, right? With your family and with yourself. And if they fail, you keep trying, you adjust it, or you reach out to me. And you have to go and now set the goals and do stuff on your own, or you can get me to help. And that's where we go. And trust me, if you would have saw me before I took the assessment, if I can do this, anybody can change. I worked with my coach. I got fired. She fired me on the second session because I was so full of sarcasm and so critical. She's like, you know what? We're done. And she closed it. She says, "You're fired." I'm like, "What?" She said, "I don't have time to work with people like you. You're negative. You're sarcastic. I don't need it. This isn't going to work for you. Your attitude's bad." And it took a lot of prayer and emails and begging and phone calls and stuff to get her to take me back. Luckily, she did. Luckily, I learned to change. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. So what, Lynn, what would you say is the most helpful thing you've got today?
Just to kind of have the more systematic approach to, I guess, establish parameters for decent goal setting.
Yeah.
You know, everything before is kind of vague. Oh, I want to learn German. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine, but why do I want to learn German?
Yeah. I've always wanted to like learn a language, but I'm like, I really have no reason. Again, the sarcasm in me was, well, it'd be nice to learn Spanish because, you know, Utah has a lot of different cultures and there's a lot of Spanish people. But my motivation was, well, because I want to know if they're talking about me. That was it. That was the motivation. Not that I wanted to talk to them and be able to share their language and learn their culture and stuff. I just want to know if somebody's talking behind my back, are they talking about me? Because that's where my self-esteem was. I know they're talking about me. So now I can answer back and make them feel bad. That's where I was. That's where I was. Motivation like that, you're not going to succeed. It's a bad motivation. Now, I want to learn a different language so I can share with them. So I can do these kind of trainings in Spanish. You know, I've had people that didn't speak a lot of English on here. They don't catch a lot. So I do slides so they can read it. But now I can do some when I learn it, when I started, then I can do them in Spanish. You know, and if there's other languages, then I can translate. You know, when my son died 6 years ago in Taiwan, suddenly I wanted to learn Mandarin, Chinese. Why? I'm never going to go there. I had no desire to go there. I didn't want to see the place he died. I didn't want to, I'm like, what am I doing? I want to be closer to him, so I'll learn Mandarin. Who am I going to talk to? He's dead. So again, is it realistic? Is that a realistic goal? No, it's not. And not if I'm going to not go there and learn it. Plus, it's like the second hardest language to learn in the entire world. Once I learned they have like 87 letters for every one of ours, I'm like, nah, I don't think I want to learn that. Spanish is supposed to be pretty easy. So it's a goal.
It's German.
What's that? Easier than German?
Easier than German.
German, probably a little hard, but it would be useful here. It would be useful to do it. I went to Tijuana once, just down that way visiting. I got there early in the morning because I'm a morning guy. So it took me about 2 hours to walk around. I'm the only person walking around in Tijuana to understand that Cerrado is closed because every store was closed. They don't open up in Tijuana until like 11 o'clock. I walked around for 3 hours. I'm like, that must mean close. Close. So I just walked around looking at signs going, I wonder what that means. Okay, that means restaurant. That means whatever. That means hotel. I had nothing else to do. So anyway, didn't want to get off point. But that's where, you know, goals, you know. Mike, what about you? What was the most important thing you learned? Helpful thing?
Well, it's okay to fail, but as long as you are As long as you persevere,
Yeah.
and you don't, and you grow from this, because we need growth to become successful.
Yeah. And it's, we're going to fail. And again, we can achieve one small goal and a big goal. I told you I was at that thing right before COVID hit down with the 54 people. He said I failed. I set a goal to get 60 here. Got 54. I asked him, I said, so what's your goal next year for the same event? And he said, I said 100. He said, no, 500. And he'll do it. He said 500. Again, big goals. But he's got a plan of how to do it. I was thinking small. Well, we'll double it. No, we're going to increase it by 1,000. So we'll see, when that comes up. But I've seen his group on Facebook grow like by 7 or 8 times, and that's what he has to do. He has to grow it by 10 times.
Hmm.
So he had to go from 5,000 to 50,000 people in his group. That's somebody who understands goals. Darn, I only got to 48,000 people in my group. Did I fail? No. You grew hugely. We're supposed to fail. So anyway, time's up. And no, I appreciate you guys coming, and things I can do to help. Yeah. Check out the stuff in the group. You guys leave good stuff, and I see you in there all the time. Reach out to me if you need help with stuff. It's what I love to do.
The group again?
It's Eliminate Stress and Find Your Success.
Okay.
Easy if you just type in eliminate.
Yeah.
It'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I know Lynn's been in there, and I've got to know her a little better. And
Yeah.
And there's stuff in there every day that's helpful. And I never did follow up with you. Did you get my book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, had a chance to read it?
Started it. I
Started
think
it?
I've got pages in.
I kept it short because people that deal with that kind of stuff don't want a 500-page book. They want a short book. They said, publishers like, should be longer. I'm like, no. 106 pages is just fine. So, yeah, any questions you guys have before we head out?
No, it's been really good. I need to go to your group, and I appreciate this compacted information.
Yeah, like I said, there's a million ways to find out how to do goals. And I want to reinvent the SMART goals because it's probably the best out there. Everything is just those words different. Every program is you use a different word here. SMART goals has always been good.
Yeah.
But it was the next things I wanted to talk about.
Believe it or not, one of my son's teachers actually uses, he introduced this, or she introduced this, I think 2 days ago, to the English class.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for
And
her.
they're doing a project where each individual student has to set a goal that is measurable and accountable and realistic, and they have to research the statistics behind the goal. And
Yeah, it's when I take somebody through coaching, and I went through it, it's like 10 times during coaching they'll look at me and go, why didn't I get taught this in 7th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I get taught this? Why didn't I get taught how to set goals? Why didn't I get taught how to have a conversation? Why didn't I get taught how to listen? Why didn't I get taught how to time management?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I learn this in 6th grade, 5th grade? Now I'm learning it as an adult. I'm like, yeah, it's common sense stuff, but we weren't taught how to do it. We weren't taught how to set goals. Just, you need to set goals. Help me. I don't know how. So, all right. You guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and reach out to me, and I'll get with you, Lynn, we'll set up a time to do a call, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
sounds good.
Hey, thanks,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
See ya.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.